All right, let's go ahead and keep picking up from the word from the wall root plant. All right, so as we can see, the fronds are astringent. Astringent meaning to pull something tight, squeeze something. You know what I mean? So I took it as squeeze something out. All right, constricting, contracting, stifting, causing the contraction of skin cells, and other body tissues. Or taste or smell, slightly acidic or bitter. And astringent lotion to skin, right, to reduce bleeding from minor abrasions, or as a cosmetic to make the skin less oily. So you can use it to make the skin less oily, right? Mid 16th century, from French, from Latin, astringent, meaning pulling tight. From the verb astringere, from from add meaning towards, plus stringere meaning bind or pull tight. So bind something, pull it tight, a wall, right? Okay. That's stringent. There's also a deobstruent. A deobstruent. What's this? Comparative, more deobstruent, okay, superlative, more striate, okay. Removing obstructions. It's designed to move obstructions, having the power to clear or open the panel, to open the natural ducts of the fluids and secretions of the body. Right, we already went through secretions in the other video I did. Part. Talk about secretions, right? Pull something out. So it's to clear out the waste, open up the ducts, get the waste out of your body. All right? So that's fun. So let's go on to the next one. We got him and the God. We're dealing with the gods already, like the synagogue, right? That's how we got to the excretions and secretions and all that there. So now, it means a substance that stimulates or increases menstrual flow, right? A substance that stimulates or increases menstrual flow. And this is pretty much dealing with most of the root plants. Eliciting, the word means. I'm sorry, y'all. I just like people want to know. Elicit, evoke or draw out a response, answer, or fact from someone in reaction to one's own actions or questions, right? It's an evoke or draw out what? A response, an answer, or a fact from somebody else, right? In reaction to one's own action or question. So you're trying to draw the response by question, draw the response by action. All right? So to draw forth something that is latent or potential into existence. Draw forth something that is latent or potential into existence, right? You already say now, right? Draw forth something that is latent or potential into existence, right? So something that can happen, you made it happen. So you thought about something that was realistic, it was able to be drawn into existence, so you drew it forth by eliciting it. How do you say that word? Elicit. It's a mid 17th century from Latin, elicit, meaning drawn out by trickery or magic. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. Something drawn out by trickery or magic. And what do they call trickery or magic, right? It's by doing an action or asking questions to get a person to respond in a certain way. That's called trickery or magic. Okay, they're synonymous. All right. So now we have a variant. Out. Lasere. Meaning entice or deceive. So you enticing or deceiving someone by drawing something out of them, causing them to react and do a certain thing. So magic's being played all around us, being played out all around us. Everywhere we go is a magic show. See, you understand? Drawn out by trickery or magic. All right, cool. That's what illicit means. Obtain something and do something. Engender, trigger. So when you're out there making plays, making things happen, you are actually doing magic. All right. So when a person is promoting to you or advertising something to you, they're working their magic. You gotta work your magic. See, ain't that what they say in hustling? When you hustling, man, you gotta work your magic. Right? You gotta work your magic. Okay. So, imminent God. Imminent God. The substance that stimulates or increases menstrual flow, right? But somehow, some way, right? It ends up being a word that's talking about magic and all that. That's kind of crazy. So the word imminent God came about in the 18th century. You know what I'm saying? But this word imminent God comes from these two words. This word plus this word, right? Imminent means mixes, meaning to mix together. It sounds like something that's mixed together. Menses, blood, and other matter discharged from the uterus. Administration. Okay, that's what mens means. The time of menstruation. So it means the time of matter. Also means month. In the plural sense, right? It say from Latin plural mensis, meaning month. So menses mean month, and so men, cis, that's two words. Cis seems like cesspool, septic tank, the blood and other matter discharged from the uterus at menstruation. The time of menstruation, so I guess some eggs are not being used, something like that. I don't know what's going on in menstruation. Don't make you, okay, let's see. All right, we know menstruation is what it is on a regular basis where they bleed, right? It's a menstruation or period. It's normal vaginal bleeding that occurs as part of a woman's monthly cycle. Every month, your body prepares for pregnancy, okay? If no pregnancy occurs, the uterus or womb sheds its lining. The menstrual blood is partly blood and partly tissue from inside the uterus. Okay, so for us men that may not know what the hell going on with the menstruation, I damn sure didn't know. I just know they bleed, right? But what's actually going on is that it's shedding the blood and the tissue that was going to form, the bag. You know what I mean? What it say? It say, if no pregnancy occurs, right, the uterus or womb sheds its lining. So it's the lining. It's the, I forgot what it's called, the fetal sac, I think. And then it says the menstrual blood, okay, it said the menstrual blood is partly blood and partly tissue. They're talking about this lining that it sheds, right, from inside the uterus. Interesting. Learned something today about that. I wasn't even going to look that up, but that's very key. So whenever a person's cycle come on, or whatever the case, then that's when they were ready to become pregnant. All right, so now if you want to help this process, then the wall root plant can help you. The wall root, as a medicine, because it helps strengthen the menstrual cycle. So maybe, I don't know for sure, but maybe the female that can't have children, maybe that's a problem. Maybe that may be part of the problem. But this is not medical advice. We all know that. I ain't no doctor. But why is this? Look at this. What does this represent?
Are you about to eat?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just sitting down.
Okay. Sorry, y'all. My wife has eat. Yeah, well, I don't know why they look like a black person for some reason. I don't know why. Like a baby. Looking like a baby. But, okay, let me keep on. We'll get back to the business. All right, but we know what menstrual means. And then we know that means month. So month means what? If it means menstruation, it means lining. It means shedding light. Shedding of, I ain't gonna go for it. Shedding light. I ain't gonna go too far into it. All right, but now we see what that means. Menses. Let's get back to another part where I looked that up. See what is that? I don't see. Okay, there we go. I just clicked on menses. Now we're about to go to agogos. Agogos. We know that I already looked that up. That was eliciting. Y'all remember what that was, right? Go back to eliciting. So make sure we remember. So we'll keep it all together. I'm talking about sharing the bag with the administration, with the menses, right? So that's immunoguard, right? For some reason that means that, yeah. Immunoguard is evoke or draw out. So it's draw out the menses. Okay? Drawing out the menses. Draw forth something that's lacking or potential into existence. Wow. So it's the potential of having a baby. They had the potential, so it drawed out the potential, Because potential when you didn't do it, you had the potential to do it, so you're not actually doing it. Then latent, go ahead and see what that is. Something latent. Meaning late, late cycle, you didn't make it. All right, so a quality or state existing, but not yet developed or manifest, hidden or concealed. Okay? It says something existing but not yet developed. So that means the person, we already exist in our mothers. Is that what it's saying? But it say, but we have not yet been developed or manifest. So that means we are hidden and concealed. Right? So we are already in our mothers. And so it has to be assimilated. Sperm. The egg or whatever, right? The hidden piece, I guess. I don't know, I want to think too far into it. Alright, so now, biology says of a bud, resting stage. Lying dormant or hidden until circumstances are suitable for development or manifestation, right? Same type thing. Egg waiting to get. Oh man, okay. That means every month, fellas, all these women around here having their cycle because they're not pregnant and they here to be pregnant. I ain't gonna say it like that, not be pregnant all the time. But that way to see it was like, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. But listen. It's a latent, being hidden, right? Hidden. Latent means being hidden. Being hidden. That's the overall understanding. So let's get back to why we're talking about this here. Latent is what we get. It says when you draw forth, there's something that is latent. You draw forth something that is latent, something that is hidden. Right? Something that is not there, but is there. You see? Into existence. Causing it to exist. Something that you cause it to exist. Now, potential. I mean, something that's there. You just got to have a suitable situation, right? To bring it forth, to draw it out. Sometimes that's what pressure's for, to draw out what you need to do. But it's better to do that yourself than have an outside person doing it for you. It's better to do it yourself. Doing what you know you need to do when you need to do it, type of thing, you know? All right, so potential, having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something in the future, right? Having or showing the capacity. Understand, we talk about potential, we're talking about capacity. What is potential? Potential is having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something in the future. You know, a lot of people don't even have potential as it seems, right? They don't have the capacity. You don't have enough room. You don't have enough ability to cope in society. You don't have that. You don't have what it takes to become anything or to develop into anything. That's a whole different part. Because the becoming part, that's a whole different stage. Developing is a whole different stage. You can't even get to the first principle of things to even become or develop. I mean, you don't even know what you want to be. You haven't even gotten to that capacity, to the dream stage yet. Or let's develop into being that. And then when it comes to developing, you don't have the stamina to even start developing. You're like, you don't have what it takes, so to speak. This is what we're talking about when we're speaking on potential. We're saying having or showing. Having it or showing it. Showing what? Having or showing what? The capacity. That's the key. The capacity, the room to become or develop. Right? Like, are you coachable? Can you stand to learn, or do you just have it all figured out? You don't have no capacity to go further than what you are already. Right? To develop into something in the future. All right, so what's the next definition? Capacity. Latent qualities or abilities that may be developed and led to future success or usefulness. Right? Latent qualities, like, remember something that's hidden, something that you can't see. Hidden qualities, hidden abilities that may be developed and led to future success and usefulness. All right, don't forget that we still, check it out. We're coming from the root still, huh? Possibility, potentiality, prospects, promise, capability. Now, physics. The quantity determines the energy of mass, right? Talking about capacity again. Capacity. The quantity determining the energy of mass in a gravitational field or of charge in an electric field. Okay? It said the quantity determining the energy, the pull on it, right? mass and a gravitational field, so we're pulling on something, right? The magnetism, gravitational is definitely is the same thing as magnetism. All right, and it's talking about the electromagnetic field is what they're speaking of. All right, so the electric field is giving something out, it's pushing something out, and the gravitational field is bringing something in, right? So do you have the capacity to have the magnetism to store all the electricity needed to produce a certain result you attain to achieve, or whatever it is, or height you reach to go towards or reach. Okay? Can you make it to the pinnacle? Do you have enough capacity to put yourself at the pinnacle, at the top of yourself, not over anyone else? Can you rule over your own head? Can you rule your house? Right? Meaning your body. Because everyone in your household has their own head. Right? It's just the household, right? It's the place that's holding the houses. All right, so late Middle English from Latin, from late Latin, potentialis, from potentia, or potentia, meaning what? Power. From potent, being able. See, potent, right? Are you able? You have enough power to be able to do something. You see? Having and showing the capacity to become, the power to become. You know? What do they call it? What does it say? Being able to become. Are you able to become it? Do you have everything lined up? So embryonic. Potential means embryonic, developing, dormant, inherent, Latin. Latent, right? So we're talking about menstruation and all that. So embryonic, relating to an embryo. And what does the embryonic relate to? Of a system, idea, or organization in a rudimentary stage with potential for further development. In the incomplete stage, immature, germinal. What is germinal? Relating to or of the nature of a germ cell or embryo. Okay? A sprout, a seed, the muscle sprout. That's us. Jack and the beanstalk. Seeds, the sprout, germinal stage, and us, embryo, related to or the nature of germ, right? Provide material for future development. Germ cell. Check out germ cell right quick. Germ cell. A cell containing half the number of chromosomes of a somatic cell and able to unite with one from the opposite sex to form a new individual, a gamete. An embryonic cell with the potential of developing into a gamete. Okay, so now we're talking about this potential thing they was talking about. By having the capacity, the power to do. So once you make it here, we know you already had the power and the capacity now. if you make it past this stage, this is the beginning of the power. This is the beginning of the resistance. This is the beginning of your test. This was the test. This was the ultimate test. When you were that sperm cell going into that egg and having to show you had enough capacity, enough power, you know what I mean, to make it to this side, to manifest something, to manifest ourselves. We the one that reached the egg. So that means, wow. Well, I ain't gonna say that part. But yes, y'all understand what I'm saying. You know, really related to what they were saying when the sac or whatever, when the menstrual cycle comes around, that means that it's the tissue and the lining coming out and all that. You know what I'm saying? With the blood and tissues that makes up the lining. Meaning that, there's another cycle that went around that the woman wasn't pregnant and that she had the potential to become pregnant every month. That's what it's showing. Where this root plant and all that can help with this process. As far as like, if a woman have a problem having a menstrual cycle, it's meaning that she gonna have a problem having a child type stuff. Like having birth control, like slowing your cycles down and all that. I guess that's what it's doing. I don't know. You understand? So for the one that where this is damaged, it can be reversed through medical principles for like natural herbal principles. See? With the plant I'm talking about. I just wanted to recap on what we're talking about so we keep everything together to see why we are over here. Because this another outlook on what we're talking about when we're talking about being a part of the whole, right? So now, and the rudimental element of this deal is seeming to be talking about the sperm and the egg and all that coming together as one, forming a new individual, calling it a gamete. And once you, an embryonic cell with the potential of developing into a gamete, right? I mean, that's what the power shows that. That's what you show you had the capacity or not had the capacity to, transition. All right? So now, let's see. It say a cell containing half the number of chromosomes of a somatic cell. So the somatic cell is. Hope y'all okay with surfing with me, man. Riding the wave with me. That's what I do. I just float, man. Taking the walk down the street with me, Make sure we know what we know. But we know what they said, huh? Somatic what? Any cell of a living organism other than the reproductive cells. Any cell of a living organism other than the reproductive cells. Other than. So they're not talking about reproductive cells. Okay? Any cells of one. It's not other reproductive cells. Okay, cool. Yes, sir. So it says a cell containing half the number of chromosomes of somatic cell and able to unite with one from the opposite sex to form a new individual, a gamete. Well, hold on. It said and. Okay. Now this one, okay, I get it. It said a cell containing half the number of chromosomes of a somatic cell. Okay? That's the one that's not having anything to do with reproduction cell. Say and able, right? The germ cell is able to do the somatic cell thing, and is able to unite with one from the opposite sex to form a new individual, a gamete. So it does both. Okay? Let's watch this. What gamete means? There's another piece of information I'm going to show you guys anyway. For the ones that have not saw my other videos, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you'll understand what I'm going to say right now. All right, so what's a gamete? A gamete is a mature haploid, male or female germ, male or female germ cell, which is able to unite with another of the opposite sex in sexual reproduction to form a zygote. All right? So now, it's forming a zygote. What's a zygote? Well, what's a gamete, right? It's a late 19th century. That's when they came up with the word gamete. which means the 1800s. It says from Latin, gamere, from Greek, gamete, meaning what? Wife. Gametes, husband. Okay? From gamos, meaning what? Marriage. All right. So it means wife, husband, marriage. Mm-hmm. Now, so you got two, and then that forms you. You got wife and the husband, right? Then they form into a zygote. Then you got the zygote, means a diploid cell, resulting from the fusion of two haploid gametes, right? Which is what? A fertilized ovum. Okay, so once you become a zygote, then the ovum is fertilized. So this is when you are implanted into your world. This is when you go into the egg. The egg is fertilized. The ovum is the egg. All right? So we'll get into diploid fusion. So let's see what zygote means in its origin. So, late 19th century, from Greek, zygotos, meaning yoked. From zugon, to yoke. So the zygote is what's yoking the male and the female together. And we say yoke, that sounds like intertwine, to twist together. They're like the twin serpents or something like that. Okay, let's see. Yoke means a wooden crosspiece that is fastened over the necks of two animals and attached to the plow or cart that they are to pull, right? So it's a wooden crosspiece that is fastened over the necks of two animals, okay, and attached to the plow or cart that they are to pull. Now, understand this, man. This is deep. So, you have two things that comes together to be one. So, here in the soul. And then they come together, we come together, I come together, right? I come together, attached. We come together attached to a plow cart, which the flesh to be pulled. We have to pull this flesh. And we do it with this energy within us, with this power that we were speaking of, right? So y'all see how this stuff is flowing together. So now, let's see what another definition is. You see it says harness, collar, coupling, tap, equipage. So now the coupling, that's the man, that's therefore a man leave his mother and his father, and they should come together and become one flesh, right? And all that there. That's what we're talking about, to be equally yoked or evenly yoked. You understand? So we know to yoke is dealing with the Bible scriptures and all that there, but I just want to give it to you simple and plain that it ain't got nothing necessarily to do with it, where it does have everything to do with it. Yeah. I can't even say all that. But I hope y'all get what the angle I'm coming at, though. Letting y'all know that, hey, listen, everything is everything for the most part. Everything circle back around and talk to each other. Wisdom talk to each other. You know what I'm saying? It communicates together. It put it in plain sight for you if you know how to see. Now, it says a part of a garment that fits over the shoulders and to which the main part of the garment is attached, typically in gathers or pleats. Now, this is basically like your shoulders. This is your shoulders. Your head rests on your shoulders. Okay. Your head rests on your shoulders, man. Like, hey, man, if it ain't for the shoulders, the head ain't gonna be able to get what it needs. You ain't gonna be able to get ahead if you don't use your shoulders. If you don't put in some work. See? All right. Let's see the origin of it being right quick. Okay, don't say the origin, that's informal. I don't want to read that. Y'all read the informal things on your own time. That's cool. Do what you do. All right, so now the origin of the word yoke is to join. Okay, to join together in an assembly, to come to an assembly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right. So now, a lot of definitions to this too. Okay, let's do it. I read the first one. It's a now under the first definition. It's a use of something that is regarded as oppressive or burdensome. Okay, flesh, enslavement, tyranny, domination, oppression. You know, bondage. Fetters. You know, when they mention fetters and shackles and all that. You know what I mean in the scriptures. Servitude, slavery. We already discussed what slavery is, what it's dealing with. You know what I mean? And other things I talked about indentured servitude and all that, and how it's all the same thing. You know, but you're supposed to be indentured to your spirit, right? Either way it goes, your spirit indentured to you, you indentured to your spirit, and yeah, you're supposed to become one. And tackle life, man it. You understand? Man your situation. You feel me? So now, in ancient Europe, an arc of three spears under which a defeated army was made to march. See, that sounds like the Holy Trinity and all that. Mom, dad, child. A pair of animals coupled together with a yoke, or keg, the amount of land that one pair of oxen could plow in a day. A part of garment that fits over the shoulders and to which the main part of the garment is attached, typically in gathers or pleats. A frame fitting over the neck and shoulders of a person, used for carrying pails or baskets. The crossbar of the head of a rubber to whose ends ropes are fastened. A bar of soft iron between the poles of an electromagnet. The soft iron between the poles of electromagnet. I was not expecting to see that. See now that brings us to the poles within the human body. Okay, the animal pole and the vegetable pole. You know, we're about to get a little deeper. All right, so now we talk about Old English of a Germanic origin, Dutch, Jock, okay, shared from European root though by Latin, jugum, and Greek, zagon, also by Latin, jungere, meaning to join, right? You already been through that part of it. Now we get the second yoke, a thing whose name one cannot recall, does not know, or does not wish to specify. Now hold on. That sounds like something else I heard before. I think that's what I is, or something like that. Identity. That's deep. I can't remember right on what that was. But do you peep that though? To be equally yoked. So a thing that's yoked together is a thing, right? Whose name. Oh y'all remember I was telling you guys about naming only identity. You don't really have no, you know what I'm saying, no label like that. You know, not for real they don't. You know what I'm saying? It's a thing whose name, right? One cannot recall. You know, what's your real name? You know, when you come into this job group and all that, we just say your name is this, your name is that. But in actuality, no name, bro. No ID. So it says does not know or does not wish to specify. All right, so now, aside from that, I wanted to get to this electromagnetic pole thing, right? And I want to show about the poles and how we can, because we know we're talking about yoke, you know, and we know we're coming from the aspect of the zygote. So now, let's see. Yeah, let me go and do that before I forget, because I will forget on y'all. Let's do vegetable pole, animal pole. vegetable pole, animal pole. Y'all know me, man. I like to go all the way around the circle, man. That's what I do. So listen, hold on. This is what I'm talking about right here. You see, the animal pole is at the top, the vegetable pole is at the bottom. And this is polarity in the embryogenesis, right? Embryogenesis, right? So understand when we're talking about Genesis, the book of Genesis, and we're talking about the generation of man, and so it's the creation of man is what we're talking about in Genesis. So when we have polarity, for the ones who don't understand what polarity means, positive and negative is two polarized and two opposites. You know what I mean? And when they come together on one accord, they polarize. You know what I mean? So it's like a mixing together. You know what I mean? And polarity, like opposite polarity, is like when something go from positive to negative. So it's like, hey man, things all down, but now everything's all the way up. You know what I mean? So you polarize to the upside. You see what I'm saying? But it go through the middle though. You have to go through the middle, go through the gate, so to speak. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like that. So polarity in embryogenesis. So this is pretty important. So I guess I may as well go ahead and read a little bit about it. So it's a animal and vegetable poles. Like this is this is us, I should say, right? This is the yolk. Down here is the yolk. You know what I mean? And listen. It's a blastula embryo is divided into two hemispheres, right? The animal pole and the vegetable pole. The animal pole consists of small cells that divide rapidly in contrast with the vegetable pole below it. Okay, the animal pole draws its name from its liveliness relative to the slowly developing vegetable pole. All right? So they would get a water and we call it, flesh. Matter. All right, so in developmental biology, the embryo is divided into two hemispheres, vegetable pole, okay. The animal pole consists of small cells divided, okay, we already went through that part. And it said the vegetable pole below it. It said in some cases the animal pole is thought to differentiate into the later embryo itself, okay? So listen, it say the animal pole is thought to differentiate into the later embryo itself. So the animal pole is the blue part. All right? So the vegetable pole pulls it up through to the animal pole. Okay, let's see. It say forming the three primary germ layers and participating in gastrulation. So you got the marginal zone too, right in the middle. So the three primary, germ layers. And it say the animal pole is heavily pigmented. What is? The animal pole is heavily pigmented, while the vegetable poles remain unpigmented. Okay, so now, when we talk about pigmentation, we're talking about melanin. We're talking about the ability to synthesize light. All right? So, this just by understanding what's going on to my knowledge that's being given to me is that the more heat you can stand, the more capacity you have to withstand heat and fire or whatever the case during the process of being developed determines what kind of baby you are, basically, so to speak, right? So basically, the more pigmented human it clearly shows that it had the ability to withstand more heat or more fire. That's just what I'm understanding. Because it's like absorption. You see what I'm saying? If the vegetal pole is the unpigmented aspect and the animal pole is the pigmented aspect, right? And we know unpigmented basically means white without color. So that means something got left at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the earth, so to speak, right? Yeah, it was tampered with a little bit, had a tint to it, caught some of the smoke, but it didn't come up into it didn't come into the fire. The whole self didn't come up to the fire. You feel me? There was a limitation. All right, that's just what I'm people. Now I said the vegetable pole contains large yolky cells that divide very slowly, in contrast with the animal pole above it. In some cases, the vegetable pole is thought to differentiate into the extra embryonic membrane. It's sometimes thought to differentiate into the extra embryonic membranes that protect and nourish the developing embryo. What does it do? It protects and develops the developing embryo, such as the placenta in mammals and the chorion in birds. So the same thing the placenta is to humans is the chorion. It's the same thing chorion is to birds. All right, and the placenta is the extra embryonic membrane that protects and nourishes the developing embryo. And it's saying that this placenta differentiates. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it don't give as much nutrients to each person. It's not, it's suggestive, I guess, right? So now it's the development of the animal vegetal axis, right? Axis. The pole has an axis. Remember we was reading something about axis? I think that's why I'm on this, right? We said something about the axis. This is what I'm talking about. Yeah. And it occurs prior to fertilization. This occurs before fertilization. Okay? It's before the fertilization process. It's a sperm entry can occur anywhere in the animal hemisphere. So the sperm enters into the animal hemisphere. They say the point of the sperm entry defines the dorsal ventral axis. Okay? It describes your angle. So, to me, this is explaining how people get these zodiac signs and all this type of stuff, saying, oh, this is that. So if you got a circle and you have this different sections of around this circle, so wherever you hit the egg at determines what level of consciousness or personality or what personality you will act out in the primary, I guess. Something like that, right? That's just what I'm saying. But it's telling you that the sperm can hit any part of this of the animal pole. And you see this is the animal pole at the top. And you see it's not even 180 degrees. It's about 120. You see what I'm saying? 120, because if you divide by 360 by 3, you get 120, 120, 120. You see what I'm saying? So it's only like 120 that you can actually see. So that's like in front of our eyes. Like we can't really see the whole 180 like that. We basically seeing like kind of like a 120 view. That's like pretty much right in our provision. You know what I mean? Well, it's right. It's right in our line of sight, so to speak. Right, 120 degrees. Okay, everything else is pretty much a blind side. All right. So now we're talking about the development of vegetal axis and all that, the fertilization, right? Sperm entry. And they say anywhere in the animal pole. Say sperm entry can occur anywhere in the animal pole. Okay. And it says anywhere in the animal hemisphere, I'm sorry. And it says the point of sperm entry defines the dorsal ventral axis, right? Cells opposite of the region of the sperm entry will eventually form the dorsal portion of the body. So now it says the opposite end will form the dorsal part of the body. So this forms the dorsal. And the animal part, this part where the sperm enters in that, forms the dorsal ventral. Okay? So they say in the frog, now they talk about the frog, right? A pigment pattern, right? Not everybody knows the frog stuff. So let's check out what this means. Dorsal ventral axis. What part of the body is this? This is that part, it appears to be. Everything from here to here. So it's a dorsal ventral axis, one passing through the posterior to the anterior surface of the body. Electrical axis of the heart, the preponderant direction of current flow through the heart, a consequence of the electromotor forces within the heart. Come on, man. Oh, man. Come on, man. This thing, it just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And come on, man. So the animal pole part is dealing with the dorsal ventricle axis, right? Which is one word. And it's one passing from the posterior to the anterior surface of the body. So what's the posterior? Is posterior the lower part, or the posterior to the anterior? Posterior, further back in position of or near the rear or hind end. That's the lower part, especially of the body or a part of it, right? Especially of the body or a part of the body. So it sounds like it started from your heart chakra up. Okay? Which is your dorsal ventral. But of the dorsal ventral, you have the posterior and you have the anterior. And this electrical energy flows from the posterior to the anterior. All right? So now, let's check out what anterior is, just to be sure that it's the top. And it's a dorsal ventricle axis, right? One passing from the posterior to the anterior surface of the body, right? Electrical axis of the heart. That's what it is. The preponderant direction of current flow through the heart, okay? Which is a consequence of electromotor forces within the heart. Anterior. Anterior is nearer the front, especially situated in the front of the body or nearer to the head. All right, coming before in time, right? What is it? Coming before in time, formerly or earlier. All right, so you know the head comes out first. When you're born, technically the head comes out first. In time, the head was born first. The feet was born last. I know that's pretty heavy, but yes, that's the fact. So before, all right, is what anterior is, and after is posterior. Let's be sure that it says after, which we read that it's after. Let's make it simple and plain for the people. Following. All right? So something happens before, and then after that, something else follows. All right? So everything starts from the head, starts with the head. You know? Yeah, I'm just taking it from the heart now. We're just talking about posterior and anterior. Okay, first you go from the heart, right? Start from the heart, goes up to the head. You know what I mean? So the heart controls the mind, so to speak, which is like kind of like a paradox. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the mind controls the body. You see? There's a chain of command. It go up and go back down. All right. All right. So we talk about following, or we talking about after? Do they say from post, meaning following or after, right? So descendants, denoting descendants. So now when we're talking about descendants, what are we talking about here? The descendants of these, of that. All right. Go down afterwards. Come afterwards. All right. So let's get back to business. There's something else I probably want to check out too, but let's go ahead and look at some pictures right quick. So, and you remember when we were talking about the angle and stuff like that, they were talking about 45-degree angle, 0 degrees. All right, but we get it. We get it. So now, let's get back to something else. This. Now we know what dorsal ventral axis is. So let's see what the dorsal portion of the body is. Dorsal portion. Let me just do it like that. Probably everything else. The dorsal, from Latin dorsal, meaning back, surface, or surface of an organism, refers to the back or upper side of an organism. We're talking about the skull. The dorsal side is the top, the ventral. From Latin venter, meaning belly. Surfaces refers to the front or lower side of an organism or of an organism. Okay, so it say from Latin venter, meaning belly, right? So it say the ventral surface refers to the front or lower side of an organism. So now let me put the full thing in that I want to put in so it can get more specific. So it say when we talk about the dorsal portion of the body, so we understand that one part can be dorsal. So now I say the dorsal cavity. Now this is the lower part. You see what I'm saying? The body's cavity. This is the dorsal cavity. The whole thing, right? So the whole thing is the dorsal cavity, right? So we're talking about the lower part of it. So it say, because the whole thing is the dorsal cavity, but you had the upper portion of the dorsal cavity, you had the lower part of the dorsal cavity. So when we're talking about just the dorsal in itself, because we're talking about the whole thing, right? We're talking about the lower part of it. Because we already explained that the ventral dorsal, you see, is the higher part. All right, so dorsal cavity, as its name implies, it contains organs lying more posterior in the body, right? Lower, right? The dorsal cavity, again, can be divided into two portions. The upper portion, or the cranial cavity, houses the brain. And the lower portion, or vertebral canal, houses the spinal cord. So now, understand what they're saying. Understand this. Now, in this case, when we're talking about a relation of the brain and the spinal cord, it's in the upper part is the brain. The part that houses the brain, that's the anterior. And the lower part that houses the spinal cord is the dorsal. All right? Saying it has two parts. Y'all follow that. Let's keep going. You know, all kind of signs today. And we was talking about the fraud, so y'all see what's going on with this. So anybody want to follow the information, hey, click on Jeremy Sales, and Sales is going to do it. With Jeremy Sales and all that type of stuff, we won't have to do it right now. Y'all already see what's going on. All right, so yeah, let's get out of this. I just wanted to cross-reference that right quick so y'all could know what I meant. All right, so now let's get back to where I was at. That's some other stuff I was on. Probably clicked all the way out. Trying to get back where I was at. I forget. We go somewhere around here. Listing, we got roots of potential and all that. The germinal. So we got the germ cell, right? It's relating to or of the nature of a germ cell. We're talking about germinal. We got the germinal. We got the germinal through embryonic, right? We go embryonic. We get the embryonic through potential. Okay? Get the embryonic through potential. So your potential is your embryonic stage, right? That's the potential in you. That's the power. That's when you became saved. That's when you came to the cross, right? Came past the cross, so to speak. All right. That's when you had showed that you have capacity to become or develop into something in the future. That's what we did. We developed into who we are, and we landed on this earth to manifest what we are. You understand? All right. Go back to the gametes and all that kind of stuff. Get y'all with some more knowledge about this stuff. So we went to this, and we're talking about the wife and the husband and marriage and all this type of stuff. All right, so we peeped that. Talking about opposite sex. So haploid male. Haploid male germ cell. Let's check out the word haploid. So they're mature haploid. All right. So a cell or nucleus having a single set of unpaired chromosomes, right? Unpaired. A haploid organism or cell. It means single plus oil. Oil. What's oil? Oil is forming adjectives and nouns denoting an animal belonging to a higher taxon with a name ending in oida. Oidea. Forming adjectives and nouns denoting form or resemblance. So like in the image. A resemblance, right? In the image. Haploid in the image of something. An image of something. So it's like a copy of two things, which is our mother and our father and our dad, right? So it's a higher taxon. It's belonging to a higher taxon. What is a taxon? A taxon is a taxonomic group of any rank, such as species, family, or class. Taxonomic group. Taxonomy, what is that? Taxonomy is the branch of science concerned with classification, especially of organisms, systematics. So we talk about systematics. It's a taxonomy. Come on, man. It says the classification of something, especially organisms. Everyone is classified in their own groups. Everyone is classified in their own taxonomy. So we get taxed because we have become a part of someone else's taxonomy. Corporate taxonomy. See? And this is crazy. So we have a universal form of taxing people. And this is sick. Man, how in the world we get way over here? I never knew it was called taxonomy. I never knew that. And look at that. So another flower or a plant or something like that. I wonder what that is. It said the classification of something, especially organisms, right? A scheme of classification. What? A scheme of classification is called taxonomy. Golly. Because what? We're dealing with science. Man, this is heavy, man. This is heavy. Arrangement. Everything's been arranged a certain way. Arranged distribution. See? Arranged distribution is what taxonomy is. What kind of flower it is. Got like a star right there. That's a star right there. That's a 5-point star. That's a 5-point star. What did that have to do with anything? Let me see if I can click on and see what kind of flower that is. That's a flower. That a taxon flower. Yeah, this pyramid thing going on. Let's check it out. See a taxon flower. Probably poised. Taxon flower. Flowering plant. See, you're seeing something talk about taxonomy. Flowers into taxon plants. Plant. Taxon plants. It's purple. It's purple. That's a good thing. Wow. So that means we have some that are purple rather. Okay, now I'm about to go into this. Purple taxon flower. Purple taxon flower. Symbolic meaning. Okay, let's see what they mean symbolically. Violet symbolized modesty. According to Greek mythology, violets were created when one of Artemis' nymphs, who had all sworn to stay maidens, were pursued, were being pursued by her twin brother Apollo to protect her nymph. Child, I guess. Artemis transformed her into a violet, which in turn led the violet to become a symbol of modesty. I'm talking about the flower, the plant. Let's see, plant. Plant symbolic meaning. Let's see, images. Let's see. Let's see if it gives us at least one. See what we're going with it. See if it gives us anything to correlate with everything else. All right, so now let's see. Fruit flower represent that. Okay, cool. Get that. Violet flower similar. Purple flower. Okay, let's see. We already said modesty. So it's a violet symbolizes innocence, modesty, and purity, modesty and truth, everlasting love. It can also symbolize faith, spirituality, mysticism, and remembrance. In Christianity, violet symbolizes the Virgin Mary's humility. Okay, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. It is believed that these flowers blossom when the angel Gabriel told Mary that Jesus would be her baby. It said when the angel Gabriel told Mary that Jesus would be her baby. All right, that's what these flowers, that's what it represents. And we was talking about babies and stuff like that. Okay, so y'all see what I'm saying? Yeah, y'all see what I'm saying? Let's see, negative meanings. Flowers. Anconite, monstrous, Not all flowers have good meanings. Okay, we were talking about buttercups earlier. Talk something about buttercups. One exception, okay. Anyway, I don't want to get too thrown off. Flowers. Whole nother video, basically. Get real deep into it. I've been doing a whole bunch of different videos in one. Might as well say though. So hyploid means form. Okay? So image, form. But oid means form. Oid means form. Right? The resemblance, the form of something. Form means image, probably. Form is the visible shape or configuration of something, the physical part. Remember when it said the earth was void and without form at first, right? And then it gained form when it became a hyploid. You see what I'm saying? This was actually going on in the book of Genesis. Yeah, that's what's going on. This is what's going on. The hyploid gave the earth form. All right, say the visible shape of configuration. So, all right, got it. It say, see, look, the word shape. It said it was without shape, but we know form, shape. All right, a particular way in which a thing exists or appears, a manifestation. Okay. All right, we get it. Incarnation. All right, ain't that something? The word incarnation. So it's like, hey, do we incarnate? Yeah, you incarnated when you came into this existence. You incarnated. Came into form, then meaning you incarnated. You came into appearance. That is the incarnation. You understand? Like we incarnated when we came here. Real talk. Let's get the spookism out of it. All this craziness people be talking about. Right. Incarnation is a person who embodies in the flesh a deity, spirit, or abstract quality. What? A person who embodies in the flesh a what? A deity, or what? A spirit, or what? An abstract quality. All right. So understanding that. It's in Christian theology, the embodiment of God, the Son, in human flesh as Jesus Christ. Right? The embodiment of God, the Son, in human flesh, right? As Jesus Christ. All of us. You put this same definition upon yourself, and you'll get the whole mystery of the book. That's you. We are the Son, the embodiment, right? They tangible. Load this space again. Man, they killing me with this. Probably gonna understand.